Before the fires, before the streets knew fear, there was one brotherhood, a legendary biker clan known as the Iron Circle. 30 riders moved as one, cutting through the desert like a storm of steel and thunder. They weren't criminals, they weren't kings, they were guardians of forgotten roads, protectors of villages the law never reached. At the center of this brotherhood were two blood brothers. Ares, the elder, calm, wise, and principled. Ragnar, the younger, ambitious, charismatic, and dangerously fearless. For years they balanced each other perfectly. Ares kept the peace, Ragnar kept the fire alive, and together they created the most respected biker force in the state. But ambition is like gasoline. One spark can burn everything. Ragnar wanted more territory, more power, more fear behind his name. Ares wanted none of it. He believed their strength came from protecting people, not ruling them. One night, around the sacred bonfire where the Iron Circle swore their oaths, the brothers clashed. Ares spoke of protecting the weak. Ragnar spoke of dominating the strong. When silence fell, half the riders stood behind Ares and half behind Ragnar. And just like that, the Iron Circle split into two kingdoms made of asphalt and fury. The Iron Wolves, loyal to Ares, protectors of the innocent. The Black Vipers, loyal to Ragnar, feared by the city. The desert slept uneasy from that night forward. Years passed. Both brothers built their own small empires. Both men found love, married, and, by fate or curse, their wives gave birth on the same day. Ares held his newborn son Kai gently, whispering words of calm and hope. Ragnar's son Draven was born during a dust storm, the wind screaming like the destiny he would carry. Two cousins, born on the same day, to two brothers who no longer spoke. Same blood, different worlds. Kai grew into a calm, disciplined young man. He spent his childhood learning first aid, repairing bikes, helping shopkeepers, patrolling dangerous routes with the wolves. Draven grew into a raging force. Ragnar taught him to fight first, talk later. Respect was taken, not earned. By age 15, Draven was already running small extortion routes for the Vipers. It seemed inevitable that one day their paths would cross, and they did. One hot afternoon in the crowded city market, Draven and his Vipers swaggered between stalls, collecting protection money from terrified shopkeepers. When a vendor begged for mercy, Draven shoved him to the ground. Kai, just passing through, stopped, watched, and stepped in. He didn't know who Draven was. Draven didn't know who he was. Kai simply said the words that ignited destiny. Let him go. Draven laughed in his face, swung without warning, and when Kai didn't fall immediately, Draven's whole crew jumped in. Kai was beaten, bruised, and left in the dirt as the Vipers cheered. Draven smirked and walked away. He had no idea. He just attacked the heir of the Iron Wolves. After that day, little fights sparked all over the city. Wolves protecting merchants, Vipers retaliating, lines drawn on streets, alleys, and businesses. Rumors spread. People whispered that the sons of Ares and Ragnar were at war. But the real twist came through someone neither of them expected. Mara. She was beautiful, intelligent, soft-spoken, and trapped. The Black Vipers sponsored her education, a debt she could never repay. Draven treated her like his property, not his girlfriend. She smiled politely in public, but cried alone at night. One evening at the library, Kai found her studying with a bruise on her wrist. She tried to hide it, but Kai saw. He didn't push, didn't demand answers. He just showed her kindness she hadn't felt in years. They talked, they laughed a little. For a moment, she felt safe. Their bond grew silently and dangerously. Draven found out she had spoken to Kai at a city festival. Enraged, he dragged her behind a building and hit her. She showed up the next day hiding more bruises, and Kai felt a fire inside him he'd never known. When Kai confronted Draven again in the central district, this time in public, Draven humiliated him a second time, unaware he was fighting the son of his father's sworn enemy. This beating was different. It wasn't just a fight. It was the spark that lit the war. The Iron Wolves retaliated. The Black Vipers responded twice as hard. Streets became battlefields, shops closed, families hid indoors. Gunshots replaced crickets at night. Ares and Ragnar stood on opposite rooftops one evening, watching chaos unfold below. Both aging, both hardened, both regretting the choices that led here, but neither willing to back down. Then something broke the cycle. An Iron Wolves mentor, a man who helped raise Kai, was killed in a Viper ambush. Kai held him as he died. Everything changed. Kai decided to end the war his father couldn't, not with blood, but with truth. He gathered his senior riders and created a plan to expose the Vipers' crimes, their drug routes, corruption networks, extortion trails, and hostage operations. They prepared a silent midnight raid on the Vipers' yard. At the same time, he promised Mara something even more important, her freedom. He told her he'd get her out of the Vipers' control and into the best school in the state, safely. Mara didn't believe him at first, but she wanted to, and she trusted him more than anyone else in her life. That night, while the desert was swallowed in darkness, the Iron Wolves infiltrated the Vipers' stronghold. Shots were fired, documents seized, hostages freed. The wolves disappeared into the dunes with proof that could tear the Vipers apart. The next morning, in the city square, Kai broadcast everything. Shopkeepers testified, victims spoke, the city rose. Ragnar's empire fell apart within hours. Desperate, the Vipers gathered for one last stand, and so did the wolves. Kai and Draven met on an abandoned stretch of highway at sunset, the same place where their fathers once built the original Iron Circle. Two cousins, raised to hate each other, raised as opposites. Draven attacked first, wild, furious, desperate. Kai fought with precision, restraint, discipline. The brawl wasn't elegant. It was raw and painful. Years of trauma manifesting through fists and blood. In the end, Kai disarmed Draven and pinned him to the ground. Draven's rage cracked, revealing something no one had seen before: fear. "I am everything my father made me," he whispered. Kai, breathless, replied, "Then be something else." He offered his hand, one last chance to end the cycle. Draven refused, tears in his eyes. He was arrested. The Vipers surrendered. The war ended without another death. The city breathed again. Ares and Ragnar stood together on a cliff overlooking the desert. Two old men who once ruled a kingdom, now watching their sons walk the path they paved. For the first time in years, Ragnar's eyes softened. He finally understood the cost of his choices. Meanwhile, Mara started her new life. Kai used every connection he had to secure her a scholarship, housing, and protection. She stepped into her new school with hope in her eyes, free, finally. Kai visited her on the first day. She ran to him and hugged him tightly. "You kept your promise," she whispered. He smiled, "And I'll keep the next one too." They rode together one last lap around campus, the sunlight catching her smile. And as the Iron Wolves resumed their patrols, the city saw them not as criminals, but as guardians again, For the first time in decades, the desert was quiet, safe, balanced. The circle was broken long ago, but the spirit of the Iron Circle lived on. Kai's words became the new oath: ride for those who can't. And they did. Every night, every road, every soul in need.